guys, and welcome to my recent reads. I'm just going to call this recent reads because I haven't done wrap-ups the last few months, basically. But it isn't that many books. But the very first one that I read was Daughter of the Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller. And this series, first read Daughter of the Pirate King, and it's about a young girl who's half siren and her dad controls the seas of the Caribbean. And it's a very fast-paced, easy YA fantasy read. I loved it so much as an adult even. I love when YA reads transfer over to like being good enough for an adult to read or that they connect with. But yeah, it was a really fast, easy YA fantasy read. I love the family dynamics in the story. They do come full circle by the very end. So you get to meet the mother and the father and find out interesting stuff about them. And then the daughter really grows up and becomes her own and figures out where she stands in life, basically. But yeah, it's about a girl who owns her own pirate ship, and the very first book is all about her sneaking onto another one to find this treasure map, of course, because what are pirates without treasures? So for me, it's like a very easy, light Pirates of the Caribbean. Very quick and easy, fast read compared to like, you know, the 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Okay, so book number 2 I read was Tack by Penny Reid. I am obsessed with Penny Reid series. This is like her series that I read first, and then this is the spin-off series, the knitting series I've been talking about, which I've had a lot of fun with. This story I didn't connect well with. I think I gave it 3 stars overall, but the 2 main characters, one of them is a psychologist, and then the other one is this like brooding, mysterious guy you don't know. He clearly has some issues underlying, but she doesn't want to dive into it. And he's been like watching this psychologist go on dates forever. And he works at a restaurant, and you don't really know a lot about his life till the end. So the main character guy, Alex, he's really hard to connect with. He's kind of very broody through a lot of it. And so for me, it was just really hard to connect with him. And the couple overall, I don't know, I just didn't love them together, I guess. So that's why it's set at 3 stars. I love her as a romance writer. And then the next one I read by her, I absolutely loved. So the next one I read like ties into these, and they actually produced a book that looks like these, so I'm definitely going to collect it. But it's Beauty and the Mustache by Penny Reid, and it's knitting in the series number 4. It's the first one of knitting in the series I think I absolutely loved. And I think it was because it was tied in the Winston brothers. I wish I had read it earlier. It is the Winston brothers series about 6 brothers, and they do have 1 sister. So this is about the sister, and she goes home because her mother is dying. And you know that through the whole Winston brothers series. That's why I wish I read it first, because they're always referring back to the time of their mother's death, and I didn't really connect with it until I read this book, and I absolutely loved it. So there is a guy there at home that she obviously connects with, and he's in a big part of these books as well. But most of the book is like her going through the trauma of losing her mom and being there with her mom and everything and her brothers. So I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite of all the books. It was a very slow-paced book compared to like usual. I feel like it really went through everything. And yeah, I absolutely enjoyed it. So I can't wait to collect it. The next one is You Say It First by Katie. I can't say this name. Cotugno. I don't know how to say her name, but it's got a beautiful cover. I heard about this, that it's an easy YA read, and it was. I gave this one 3 stars overall. It's about a girl named Meg and a guy named Cody, and they live distancing, like social distance relationship apparently. They live far apart. They meet, I think, over the internet if I remember right. But it's just, the book is well done in like a distance relationship. I like that the relationship, they don't get along when they don't agree with everything. They do have some major differences, but there's something there connecting them. So I liked all of that. And then I also enjoyed, there's pretty big parts of both of their lives where they're both facing adversity. So I also really enjoyed that book. But because they're so disconnected distance-wise and everything, I just had trouble, like, especially with the narrator in the background, I just had trouble connecting this couple. I liked them together for the little small portions they were together. I just couldn't connect to it and just fall in love with these characters in the end. And I think that's why I gave it 3 stars. But it is a very easy, light, contemporary YA read. That is number 5 is Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. I'm not going to go on and on about this. I made a separate tutorial like literally the day after I finished reading this because I gave myself some time to think. But yeah, this is just the retelling of Twilight through Edward Cullen's eyes. Hate it or love it. love parts of it. I love the ending especially. I think the middle was very bogged down for me, and it was very slow paced. But yeah, I won't go on and on about this. I'll just link the video up above. But yeah, this was a dense one to get through. This one took like a solid week of me only reading this too, I feel like. Okay, so Where the Crawdads Sings by Delia Owens. This is a mystery. This was a huge thing. I think in 2018 it came out. And then it was very popular in the New York Times in 2019. And I wanted to read it last year, and I never just got around to it. And I read parts of it and read half of it. And then finally I just sat down and read the last quarter I had left this month. But yeah, it's a coming of age story, and it's like deep in the woods, set on like this swampland territory. And it's about a girl who grows up basically on her own, without much help. She gets a little help here and there in her life, but there's also a death or a mystery that's going back and forth in this book. But a lot of this book, I think that's why this book is so highly rated. I gave it 4 stars overall, but most people absolutely loved it and put it 5 stars. It was on Reese's book club list. But it talks a lot about nature, and so I feel like it was different in that aspect, but like the mystery didn't blow me away. Connecting to the characters are my biggest thing, and I didn't feel any connection to this particular character. So this book was kind of in the middle for me. I did give it 4 stars because it was really well written. It was easy to read. And I get why it was really, really popular. It's different. It's unique. It's kind of a breath of a fresh air kind of book. The next book is Skies Above Us, Sunrise at Normandy by Sara Sundin. She writes a ton of series books. This is like a second series, just a one-off that I picked up because the cover is beautiful. The girl is really cute on the front here. But this is about a girl who joins the American Red Cross, and she wants to go there to work with children, and then she ends up having to work on a base, on an air base. She meets a guy. He's got a lot of issues with his family. This is a Christian-based romance. This was very easy to read. It's not something I'd read again. It was a light, easy read. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. I didn't super connect to the characters, but I did like the writing style of the author. So I feel like I want to try other books of hers, because oftentimes when I like the writing style, I'll find other books that I absolutely love and connect with those characters. But yeah, it was a super easy book to read. Educated, a memoir by Westover. This is for me the same as Where the Crawdads Sings. I had read like 80-90% of this book and just never finished it, and I just finished it up. I think it was in August I finished it up. But this book was highly reviewed by the New York Times. It's about a young girl who grows up in a survivalist family and then goes and gets highly educated. She goes on and gets basically a doctorate. She ends up going to Brigham Young, and then I think she does a stint at Harvard, goes to Oxford. But for me, this book says it's a survivalist story, but for me, it wasn't fully survivalist in a way. It was like this family picked and choose. There was modern comedies, and there was a huge portion of this book, which I liked the most, was about physical and emotional abuse. That Tara Westover, this is a memoir or biography about herself. So that I really enjoyed reading about and everything. The survivalist stuff, I don't know, like I've read other stuff that's much more, I don't know. They were partial survivalists, I guess. But I read stuff that was much more, I don't know, more survivalist than this, or more rural. I don't know how to put that, but I'm not saying that. But overall, I thought the book, because the book is called Educated, there is a huge portion of the book where she is in college, but I thought there would be given more thought to what she learned in education, and everything was connected back to her family. The way the book was written, it was like an ode to her family more. And I thought there would be a more philosophical view on education and how her mind changed in education. And it really wasn't there. For me, it was like halfway there, but not all the way there. And that's what I was expecting. So I kind of had to change my perspective a little while reading this. I think I gave it 4 stars overall. I understand why it was ever so popular memoir. And yeah, it's a bit of a tough read. Maybe that's why I put it down so many times. But it's shocking at sometimes, especially physical abuse times. But yeah, I would highly suggest you read it. I had to change like my perspective of what I thought I was getting into a little bit when I was reading this. I thought it was like a traditional real survivalist colony or something. But this family did have like TV, they did have a business, they did have like amenities, but then they wouldn't like go to the doctor, say. But yeah, I would suggest reading this one. Apparently I can't find this book, even though I have an organized library now, but it is Pride and Prejudice in Mistletoe by Melissa Day Cruz, and it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. It is the smallest, tiniest book. I had fun. It is a fun, fast Pride and Prejudice retelling. It is about a girl who lives like the highlight city life, has not been home in forever, goes home to her country life in Pemberley. Her name is Darcy in the book, so she takes the man's name. And then she comes home to a guy named, I think his name is Luke, but Luke is the guy that never left town. He makes this beautiful furniture and is a carpenter, is like, had been fixing up her mother's house. Her mother becomes ill, so she has an extended stay, spends some time with this guy. It's a Pride and Prejudice retelling. You know where it's going. I thought it was really fun and short and easy. It's not a book I would reread or anything, but for me as a Pride and Prejudice fan, it was fun and easy to read. If you need a holiday read, and you are a Jane Austen fan, then yeah, I would suggest this book. Okay, and so the last two books I read, I had so much fun with. I think I gave both of them 5 stars, but I don't own the first one, but it is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I just collected the second one. I can't wait to collect the first one. Get a Life, Chloe Brown is by Talia Hibbert, and it is a beautifully funny book. It is about a girl who is sick and has not terminal, has like a permanent illness. The words are escaping me now. But she has fibromyalgia, she's sick all the time, and she meets a guy. Well, she gets like a list together, and she decides that she's going to do these things in her life. She's going to get a life. She's kind of been hoarding herself and doing her work and just trying to make it through the pain. So she moves out of her house. She meets a guy in the apartment complex who's fixing up the apartment complex. There's a mysterious ode to him that you get to find out. But it's super funny. It's fast. It's easy. I thoroughly enjoyed it and loved it. It was so easy to read. And that's why I collected the second one. I can't wait to read it too. The next one is also a big rave, and it is One to Watch by Kate Stayman-London. This one, if I would have read the synopsis of this book or picked up this book, I probably would have read it, but I heard about it on YouTube and people raving about it. But this one is about a plus-size woman as well, and this girl goes on a bachelorette type show, and she's like the first plus-size woman, and she wants a variety of men on there, and of course, you know, she meets some guys on there, and she goes through this whole show. Before this, she's a very popular fashion blogger for plus-size women, and that's where she's kind of found her niche in life, but she does have some insecurities that come out on the show. But it was so fun and easy to read. I absolutely loved reading about it. And usually I'm not even a fan of The Bachelor. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what. I think I've watched a full season, but I still thoroughly enjoyed that. Usually some Hollywood type books like this I always think I'm going to enjoy. I read them and I don't enjoy, and that's why I said I wouldn't have probably picked this up on my own. But I absolutely loved it. It was really fun. I think it was mostly the character, and romance is always fun too. But yeah, I truly enjoyed this one. I'm glad I picked it up and read it. And yeah, this one is an easy, lighthearted, funny, romantic read as well. And those are all the books that I've recently read that I haven't talked about in a wrap up. And I will see you guys in the next one. See you guys next time. Bye.